Right, we're now going to move into the networking part. So personal branding is the why, and networking is the how. Networking is the vehicle in which you communicate your value proposition to your target market, because otherwise you run the risk of becoming a no-name brand. Now, this is one of my favorite anecdotal stories about networking. Features a man you may recognize, Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of England during the Second World War, and the other man on either side of him is probably equally as famous but less well known. And I'll share his identity with you in a minute. And the story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a Scottish farmer called Fleming who lived on a farm. He was very poor and he had a son. On the neighboring farm, there was a very wealthy farmer who also had a son. And one day, the wealthy farmer's son is walking along and he trips and he falls and he's about to drown and die. And at that exact moment, the poor farmer walks past. He sees the little boy struggling, and he rescues him. Little boy says, "Thank you so much," and he runs off on his way. Next day, a big carriage pulls up to Farmer Fleming's farm, and it's his wealthy neighbor. And he comes up to him and he says, "You saved the life of my son yesterday. How can I possibly repay you?" And Farmer Fleming said, "I was happy to do it." And the wealthy farmer looked at Farmer Fleming's son, and he said to him, "Young man, if you turn out to be a man like your father, you will be a great man one day." And he turned to Farmer Fleming and he says, "I would like to offer to pay for your son's education so that he's educated in the same way as my son is educated." And Farmer Fleming thought about this for a moment because he was a proud man, but he was a poor man. And he knew this was a huge opportunity. So he agreed. His son went on to attend the best schools in England and eventually graduated from St. Mary's Medical School in Oxford. And he ended up becoming the world-famous Sir Alexander Fleming, founder of penicillin. And years later, the wealthy farmer's son, who turned out to be Winston Churchill, got very sick and almost died of pneumonia. Guess what the drug was that saved him? And it's one of my favorite networking stories because it shows the power of what comes around, goes around. And this is what good networking is all about.